The sixth swap of the current ceasefire agreement got underway earlier in Khan Yunis in Gaza. Militant groups Hamas and Islamic Jihad handing over 3 Israeli hostages, Sagi Dekelchen, Sasha Trufanov, and Yair Horn. It's been a tense week. Israel and Hamas have traded accusations of violating the ceasefire, pushing the fragile truce nearly to a breaking point. Now, the health of these 3 men is being closely scrutinized after last week's exchange sparked anger over the conditions of captivity. Our correspondent Noga Tarnopolsky has been covering the swap from Tel Aviv's Hostage Square, and she's standing by with the head of the medical team for the Israeli hostages family. Noga, take it away.
Thank you very much. We're here with Professor Hagai Levine. He's the chairman of the Israeli Association of Public Health Physicians, and crucially, he's the chief medical advisor to the Forum of Hostages Families. He's the #1 guy informed about the health of the hostages, and we have the opportunity now to ask him some questions. Professor Levine, please tell me, what can you say to us about the health of the hostages, both those who we saw last week who appeared in such fragile health and those who initially also appeared to be in more robust health? Please tell us what you can.
Shalom from the Hostages Square. We were relieved to see the 3 hostages released today, walking on their feet and talking, but we should not be misled. We don't know the exact medical condition at the moment. The physicians in the hospitals will need to evaluate fully their status, their kidneys, their, hematological indicators, their heart, their brain, their function, their mental status. We know that they are vulnerable. We just saw yesterday that the Calderon family published that Ofer Calderon was back in hospital with severe flu infection. Clearly, he is, and the rest of the hostages that are released are immune compromised. More than that, we saw them, but we don't know what is the exact status of the hostages that are still in Gaza. We got testimonies this week, and we heard that some of the hostages are in critical condition. They have injuries, they have illnesses, they may not survive the next weeks. So we must have this feeling of urgency. Together with the relief today, 3 people were saved, but 73 people are still need to be saved. And we have to do whatever it takes, all the world, to push all the stakeholders to complete the deal and release all of them back home.
We heard earlier this week that one of the released hostages, Or Levy, by his own doctors, as I understand, said if he had remained another month, he would not have survived. Could you maybe tell us a little bit what happens to people who have been almost 500 days in chains with no hygienic conditions or in dark tunnels? What are the transformations that occur in the human body or the human spirit?
So we speak about multi-organ failure or going to failure because all the body reserve in every system are compromised. So it depends on what is the reserve of the person, what conditions, the environment that he's in, and how the terrorists are treating them. There are some that treat him more badly, like we heard, that they are undergoing torture and they are chained all the time. So, in terms of the mental health, we know that these days are critical because I heard from released hostages that when their friends were released and they don't know what will happen to them, this could be a breaking point. Now, in terms of their kidneys, they are dehydrated all the time. So the kidney could fail, and we know that Yair Horn will come by a helicopter above the square, which are just now announcing, and he will get to the Ichilov Center to his father, who just had kidney transplant. So I don't know about Yair, what happened with his kidneys. We know about the starvation. So, they are using their bodies, they are burning their fat and their muscles, even their heart muscle, they are burning just to survive. You don't know when is the tipping point. At one point, it may be too late to save them. I just want to remind you, some of the hostages died in captivity, like Aryeh Zalman Zalmanovich.
Just quickly, I want to ask you a last question. We heard this week very serious testimony from the former head of the Israeli security agency, the Shin Bet, and other senior officials that the Israeli government has been informed for months about the starvation conditions, about the shackles in which these hostages are being held. You're one of the chief doctors involved in this case. Please tell us, what is your sense when you hear that the government has been aware of this for so many months and seems to be dragging its feet?
I was not surprised by the status of the hostages. I was surprised by the response of some officials claiming that they did not know. Everyone knew and everyone should know. We published reports again and again with evidence about the life-threatening conditions of the hostages. The released hostages gave testimonies, including to the international and the local press. So all the stakeholders, all the humanitarian organizations, and also the ministers of the Israeli government must know the hostages are in critical condition. Their lives are on stake. We have to do what it takes to release them now. This is resuscitation, because I don't know how much longer they will survive.
Many thanks, Professor Levine.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. William, here I am back with you. If you have any further questions, we're waiting for the helicopter, as Professor Levine just indicated, to overfly Hostages Square, carrying Yair Horn to Ichilov Hospital, where his father underwent a kidney transplant in the last week.
All right, Noga, thank you very much. Noga Tarnopolsky, reporting from Hostage Square in Tel Aviv.